HBO Kids Video introduces the first in a new series of wildlife experiences created especially for family viewing by the National Audubon Society. Audubon's Animal Adventures. Learn what it's like to run with wolves, swim with dolphins, soar with eagles, and even travel to a prehistoric time with today's living dinosaurs, alligators and crocodiles.
Yo, belly flop.
This incredible live-action animal adventure series has received massive exposure and publicity on the Disney Channel and is now available on home video. The series begins with wolf adventures and dolphin adventures, two exciting videos that take us into the animal world where we can watch these magnificent creatures in their natural habitats. Future episodes include bear, crane, and sea turtle adventures, plus a whole lot more. Discover the exciting world of Audubon's Animal Adventures, only from HBO Kids Video.
Wild, free, and perhaps gone forever. So many of the world's animals are running out of time, endangered, on their way to extinction. One of them used to live in our own backyard, the gray wolf. For millions of years, they roamed the world's forests, ruled the plains. Fierce predators, crucial players in the balance of nature. Meet Canis lupus, the wolf, the largest member of the dog family. Once, wolves inhabited more of the world than any other land mammal. Today, like far too many other species, they are nearly extinct. In the United States, wolves survive in just a few areas, most notably Alaska and Minnesota. They vanished from their native habitat because of us, human beings. We depleted the wolf's natural prey and destroyed much of its habitat. We hunted and destroyed the wolf itself. Now, we are its last hope for survival. To help endangered animals like wolves, scientists study their behavior, why they act the way they do, what type of habitat, food, and shelter they need to survive in the wild. At the International Wolf Center in Ely, Minnesota, Janice Templeton teaches people about wolf behavior.
I've been fascinated by wolves since I was a kid, and I would have never imagined when I was a kid that I could actually be as close to wolves as I am now. It's very easy to teach if it's something that you feel very strongly about and you care very deeply about.
Wolves are very social animals. They live in family groups or packs of up to 15 individuals. Wolf society is strictly organized. The packs are run by the strongest or smartest animals, called alpha wolves, who dominate all aspects of pack life, from hunting to breeding. In most cases, only the alpha wolves are allowed to have pups, but all the members of the pack pitch in, bringing the pups food and teaching them to hunt. Wolves constantly check each other's rank in the pack. The younger and weaker wolves follow and show respect to the stronger alpha wolves. They know who's boss.
If the tail is down, lowered, and even tucked a little bit, that means the animal is showing submission. If the tail is straight up, that animal is a dominant animal.
In the wild, the alpha wolf has first dibs on everything, especially food. But among captive wolves, there's less competition, so this clever guy can sneak off with the meal. The wolf's natural prey are large hooved animals like deer, elk, or bison. A hungry wolf can eat as much as 20 pounds in a single feeding. That's like eating 80 hamburgers at once. Like all mammals that hunt for food, wolves are equipped with special tools. Their sharp fangs, of course, and their alert hearing and keen sense of smell, which they use to track their prey. The wolf's long legs come in handy too. A running wolf can reach speeds of 40 miles an hour. But how does a wolf that weighs about 100 pounds bring down a buffalo, which can weigh 2,000 pounds? Their secret is cooperation. The pack works together to stalk, then attack their prey. Wolves often hunt animals larger than themselves, but humans are not their natural prey.
There isn't a recorded case of a wolf killing a human since Europeans first came to this country.
In other ways, wolves are definitely part of our lives. All dogs are descended from wolves. Both animals are members of the Canidae family. More than 10,000 years ago, people began domesticating wolves, training them to herd sheep and to help hunt. Generations of breeding gradually produced a new animal, the dog. Dogs still hold on to certain wolf-like behaviors. When your dog licks your face, he's acknowledging you as his leader, the alpha of his life. When a wolf pack chows down, everybody eats fast to get their share. Your dog may wolf down his food too. Wolves and dogs both communicate by howling. Wolves howl to send messages to other members of their pack, to announce their presence to neighboring packs, or sometimes, like dogs, just for the fun of it. But while dogs have become our friends, some people still consider their cousin the wolf a dangerous enemy.
At the end of the 1800s, game was nearly extinct. Buffalo, we know what happened to the buffalo, and a lot of other game animals. And about the same time, Western settlers brought in cattle and sheep. So what they did was replace the wolf's normal, natural prey with livestock. That brought the wolf into disfavor as it, turned to eating those livestock. And so there was a national campaign to eradicate wolves.
So many wolves were hunted and destroyed that today the U.S. government officially classifies them as threatened or endangered. This means there are so few gray wolves left in the lower 48 states that they could become extinct. In Yellowstone National Park, the gray wolf was once the top predator, a crucial link in the food chain.
Well, they form a natural part of the ecosystem. If you look at a place like Yellowstone, the wild game herds have come back. They're in unnaturally high numbers now, and you have high incidences of disease. You've got too many elk in certain areas, or they're overrunning habitat. So their natural balance is missing, and we want to reintroduce that. And I think that the point is that all components of an ecosystem, all of the animals and all the plants, have a place.
Recognizing the wolf's importance to Yellowstone's natural ecosystem, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service has started a campaign to reintroduce the gray wolf into remote areas of the park. The program begins in central Canada, where wolves are still wild and plentiful. Wolves are tracked by helicopter, then selected for capture. A tranquilizer dart subdues the wolf, making the encounter less upsetting for the animal and the people around it. The wolves are then transported by helicopter, truck, even sled to selected wilderness areas. There, the wolves are set free. Scientists expect the return of the gray wolf to help restore Yellowstone's natural ecosystem, reducing overcrowded elk herds, allowing the regrowth of plants eaten by the elk, and creating food in the form of carrion for an array of scavengers. Native American tribes like the Nez Perce of northern Idaho have always respected the wolf's importance in the natural world.
Our country and the American Indian people here in this area. Wolf was always a good friend to the Native American people. Here in the Nez Perce country, they never had any problems with them when they went into the mountains. They were always coexisted with our people. They were a part of our lifestyle, and as you know, the Indian people lived very close with nature, and the wolf was a part of nature.
The Nez Perce will build an enclosure here that will house 8 wolves for education and research, bringing the wolves back into contact with the people who have always revered and respected them.
They show great strength, and I really wish they wouldn't have taken them out. I really think it's great if they reintroduce them around in our country again, because they're great.
But not everyone wants to see the wolves back, especially roaming free.
The sheep people, as well as the people who raise cattle, are fearful that as the wolves multiply in Yellowstone Park, they will begin to follow the elk and the bison out of the park, which means they will then come into Wyoming, Idaho, and Montana, and our livestock will be exposed to them. And as a major predator, we know that many of our livestock will lose their lives to the wolf.
That's a legitimate concern, but we know from studies in Minnesota and from Western Canada that these losses of livestock to wolves are not nearly as serious nor as widespread as generally believed.
Money has been set aside to pay ranchers for livestock killed and eaten by wolves. But scientific studies show that, like many predatory mammals, wolves prefer their natural prey, like deer and elk, to livestock, like cattle and sheep. The wolf's prey is plentiful in northern wilderness areas, and that is where wolves still roam free. In northern Minnesota, scientist Lori Schmidt studies the wolf in its natural habitat, following the animals in her wolf tracking van.
The purpose of the research is to try to learn as much as you can about wolves and their environment, where they travel, where they live, where they keep their pups, how they take care of their pups, when they hunt. That information gained helps us manage them better and ensure that they're going to be around for the next 100 or 200 years.
wolves are outfitted with radio collars so Lori can pick up their signals.
White's Cactus is Gamma. I'm positioned at Site 3. I'm going to begin a search and try to put the animal on the air. Our vans are usually parked no closer than a half a mile to where the wolf is located. Our objective is to study their movement patterns without disrupting them. If we walk in on them or try to approach them any closer, that may make them move, and then we wouldn't be following true movement patterns.
When a species becomes officially endangered, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service helps rebuild the population. That's the case with Canis rufus, the red wolf. Once a common sight in the southeast, today, only a few hundred survive.
The red wolf is a unique species, and it's a uniquely southeastern United States. Man was directly responsible for the demise of the species. The species was caught actually just in the nick of time and brought back from the brink of extinction through captive breeding.
In the 1970s, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service launched a red wolf recovery program. 14 pure red wolves were placed in captivity so they could breed in a protected environment. Since 1987, more than 85 red wolves have been reintroduced into the wild. Biologists hope to eventually release over 200. The Red Wolf program is just one example of how people can help restore America's rich natural history and stop the extinction of species around the world. But there's more work to be done to help save this important mammal from extinction. Education, preservation, research. Then, perhaps, the wolves will be back. In Idaho, in Wyoming, in the Southwest, in the places they once loved to roam.